How many total? What's the total population here? 22,000. About 20? Yeah, you guys all know where you're at. That's a good start. We're on a roll now.
We are
22,000 people. How many people are attending this meeting?
more than we had last month.
More than you had last month. Where do you start? At the beginning. And what are you people starting to do? If these streets aren't yours, you're starting to do what? Take them back. My name is Bruce Anderson, folks. I'm the Senior Staff Instructor at the Safety Center. I appreciate the invite. We're honored to be here. I brought Annette and Marianne, also staff members. We're going to talk about that little boy here in just a minute. Yeah, it's my trained killer. We're very privileged, very honored to be here. Folks, as I begin this, we've assisted neighborhood watches before. I commend your efforts. In a day and age of cutbacks, a lack of resources, there is some level of fear. Am I correct? Yes, absolutely. You know what? Is fear a powerful motivator? Indeed it is. Fear with no training, no plan, becomes panic. Panic's what's going to get you hurt. So what we want to do tonight is this. I don't tell you how to live your lives. I don't tell you what to do. What I'm going to do is create a smorgasbord of ideas and concepts. When you go to a smorgasbord, this is all you can eat. You eat everything. Men do. It's a challenge. Yeah. Women are a little more reasonable. Yeah. Bottom line, you take what you want, and you leave the rest. And that's what this training is all about. So as I start, let's just begin with a demographic of my audience. How many of you are military, paramilitary, or martial arts training, say 2 to 3 times a week on a regular basis for at least the last 3 to 2 years? Okay. The last year? 6 months. Anybody doing Taibo? Work with me. Okay. Then I got a room full of runners. There's not a fighter in here. Why must we start here?
Clear the tables.
Why is it important to identify what we really have as opposed to what we wish we had? Because I'm a reality trainer. There's not a fighter in here. And I'm going to tell you this. I've been actively training martial artists since 1975. A police officer for 7 years. I worked with your Bureau of Narcotic Enforcement for a year and a half. I specialize in sexual assault, juvenile prostitution, and dope crimes. And I'm going to tell you, if you're not training to hurt people effectively and quickly, then you better be a good runner. And that's what I'm talking about with you folks. Let's take it home. I've got seasoned, trained adult professionals in front of me. Let's go to your worst nightmare, because that's what this training is all about. You're walking to this seminar after the seminar today through a parking lot, broad daylight, with the thing that you love the most. Who's got a child? Grandchild? Somebody, a significant other? Some of you folks in the back are lonely. You need to get out more. Oh yeah, we'll talk to you later. That's all right. You walk with the thing that you love the most today, the most on this planet, and attack from behind, you're beaten to the ground. You take repeated kicks to the side of your head. Last day, the last day you'll ever see. As you live with that baby boy or that baby girl for the very last time in this reality, please tell me what that child's doing, and what is it doing right now?
Screaming.
Screaming! Think about it, my God. Watching mom and daddy get the brains kicked out of their ear, are you kidding me? They're going to freak out. As a cop, we had a gross term. We called it the ironing board effect. I have taken children from catatonic states of shock, where they didn't even blink their little eyes. When you picked them up, they were rigid like a cardboard. That's it. You're telling me that's all you have, is a screaming child. By the end of this hour, what we're going to do is give you stuff to take back. Now, we're not going to teach your kids to be killers. That's unrealistic. And I don't have time. But I can give you things to take back to make a very positive difference in the way that we're living, and we don't have to live in fear. So as we begin this process, and you're not even listening to me anymore, what are you guys doing?
Enough of those for us to take back.
Now, listen, yeah, I got one for everybody. Now, you know, it's funny. I have to apologize. This actually began as kind of a joke. But easy. Some of you folks are nervous, all right?
Well, what do you expect us to do when you do that? You knew we would.
You know, I worked in the jail. I almost said I went to jail. I worked in the jail for 9 months, and I found it fascinating. And I would lock myself in the cell base with them at night. And I wanted to know why. Why are you so successful? With the world of technology and all these things out there, why do you win? And I've been to thousands of hours of police science training, cop schools all over the country, and not one of those schools taught me how to do what you're seeing in front of you right now. Guess where I learned this? From the animal themselves. And that's what we're going to bring tonight, is a reality of, you got to stop thinking like you when it comes to crime and victimization. You've got to start thinking about the animal that preys upon you. And if you can't do that, then you will be vulnerable. You will not evolve, and you'll go the way of the dinosaur. So tonight, we're not here to scare you at all. Look at your faces. Relax, folks. It's going to get better. But I want you to understand.
With all those
you know what? Let me do this.
Lost about 50
How am I dressed?
You're
Like a
I'm Sue.
businessman.
Am I a businessman? Very good. Could I be welcomed into any one of your homes, virtually unchallenged? Would you ask to have me wanded? Would you want me x-rayed?
Not anymore. Yeah.
Not anymore, yeah. So the bottom line is, this is what I'm talking about, right? You let me in. Once it comes in, what can it do?
Sir, I don't let anyone in my house, whether you have a suit on or not. I was trained in the sheriff's department.
Outstanding. Very good. Outstanding. I'm not saying it's a blanket statement. There are no blanket statements here. All I'm saying is, right, this is the reality of what's out there. What did I use to get all this stuff in here? Ruse, deception, lies, and trickery. Can we do the same thing in keeping ourselves safe? Absolutely. And that's how we win. So we're going to talk about some things that I brought with me tonight. You have resources available to you. You have all the, police officers, people like you that are standing by, paying attention. That's a lot of it. So let's begin this process. And remember, when I asked you 5 minutes ago what you had to keep your baby safe in the face of its worst nightmare, what you told me was screaming. We're going to change that tonight. So let's re-wrap this whole thing. Let's have some fun with it. Let me quit playing around so I'm not freaking everybody out. All right, bottom line. When it comes to survival, there are 3 basic rules of survival. Are we animals on the planet? Yes. Sure, and we tend to follow the 3 basic rules that all animals follow, right? And I think, to be honest, some of the smartest animals on the face of the planet, soft, warm, fuzzy bunnies. Why a soft, warm, fuzzy bunny? Why is he a smart animal? If I put a bunny and a mountain lion in the same cage, and they engage in conflict, who will win every single time? The mountain lion. Now in Fresno, they said the rabbit. So what I would suggest, get your gas and Merced, drive right through that country. Yeah, people in Fresno don't even like living there. Yes, the mountain lion's built for speed. It's got the claws and the teeth. But there's a lot of bunnies out there. If a bunny is so easily taken out, why are there so many of them? Well, yeah, they have a prolific lust for life. A rabbit knows right where he sits on the food chain. No illusions. He knows that if he drops his state of awareness, if he's too slow, he's a hot lunch. And that's what we're going to talk about. Right? So the bottom line is, first rule of survival, stay aware. Now what does awareness mean? We hear it all the time. Stay aware, stay aware, stay aware. What does that actually mean?
Pay attention.
Pay attention, exactly right. So it's just seeing things.
Hearing.
Is it? It's hearing, it could be hearing. So we're starting to use our what? Our senses. How many senses do we have?
5.
Okay, well I'm getting some multiple choice here. Yeah, let's do it again.
None of the above.
How many senses do we have?
5.
5, all right? We have sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing. But how many do we really have?
6.
6. What do they call that 6th sense, that one that Western culture is so afraid to label? What do we call it?
Our intuition.
What kind of intuition? Women's intuition, yeah. You ever heard it called man's intuition? Now these boys got it. Ladies, but let's be clear. Every one of these guys is a loser, and I'll tell you why. Since he was that high, he's been trained to do what? Protect and provide. And if he runs, if he hides, if he cries in the face of superior threat, what is he now? I've seen good men die. I've seen good men die for things like screwdrivers, tackle boxes, because they couldn't let it go. And that's what I'm talking about here, right? First of all, we have to justify what is it worth dying for. Also, when we start to stay aware, we use all senses. And ladies, I'm going to go to you. Working violent sexual assault crimes. In 95% of the crimes I investigated, the female victim, and I've had male victims, but why does male victims sit here on a stat and women here? When quite honestly, they're almost the same. But why will you see the stats come out like this? Because not one of these guys is probably going to what? Say anything. He's not going to roll over. Because what will happen to him?
Ridicule.
He'll be humiliated and ridiculed. That's exactly right. But 95% of the women I talked to said, just before this thing happened to me, I what? I felt something wasn't right. Then why didn't she act on it? Why didn't she do something?
She didn't know what to do.
False trust? She didn't know what to do? Nice. And you know what's sad, what I found during the course of my research and investigations? Is that if she felt if she was wrong, if she cried wolf, what would happen to her? She would be humiliated and would lose credibility. I'm going to say this with all my heart. I would rather have you wrong 100 times than right, not open your mouth, not call your police officers, and become a victim of crime. And the reason for that is, once you're a victim of crime, do you ever go back? No. You've come here because you have a sense of feeling for this community. You want to be safe here. And I applaud your efforts, and you're doing it. And what I heard, part of me coming up here, is what is Linda saying? What is she saying over and over? Report things, report things, report things. They'll come or not, but what have you done? You've done what you can with the resources available to you. And you keep your eyes open. You know what? I find this to be a nation of individuals And it kills me to see that. Because when you bind together, the Japanese have a beautiful term for it. They say that we're all like individuals on a hand. Independently, we break very easily. But by God, you bind us together, and we become a force to be reckoned with. Now, I'm not going to teach you tonight guns. I'm not going to talk about gun control. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. If you read the paper, it's very clear. But this isn't the night for it. So we're going to look at preventive methodology and functional, non-combative ways to stay alive in the face of your worst nightmare. And this is a really good place to start. So let's begin with your homes. Let's start with your homes. All right? I want you to stop thinking like you, compliant, law-abiding, God-fearing. I want you to think like the animal. What does the animal seek?
Bushes they can hide.
Hiding places. So here we go. Let's do it. I want you to think about your house right now. Right? I want you to think about, where would I hide if I was a bad guy? I did it on television here for many years in Sacramento, working for KOVR. And it was interesting, we talked about the lady that drove into her garage. And we have the automatic door openers now, right?
Yeah.
When will the bad guy jump? Think about it. When would you jump? Not when the door is wide open. When do you go?
Coming down.
So what does it teach us, folks? What does it teach us? We always learn the blood of innocence, don't we? The mistakes of others. So you stay in your locked and running vehicle till what? And then you do a what before you get out? It takes how long to do that? Seconds. We call it take 5. And what we found was, every time you change position, right, from a car to a building, traveling through a parking lot, you stop and allow yourself the ability to gather those facts of information. We call it take 5. You take 5 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. And at least you've given yourself time to do what? Look at things. I think oftentimes we're in too much of a hurry. We're too focused on things. And when you drop the guard, who does the lion, who does the tiger, who does the bear get? The unprepared, the unaware, the alone, the non-alert. And it's just that simple. Rule number 1, stay aware. Become a family. Familia es primera, am I correct? Aren't you all a family here?
Yeah.
You're probably the perfect California family. You're probably completely dysfunctional. But you've made it work for you, and that's a good thing. You're here tonight. You're sharing your dreams. You're sharing your fears. That's a powerful motivator. Let's keep going. Coming together, right? Stay with the group. What do we teach our children? Safety in numbers, right? Now, we can't always be with somebody, but let's do it. I love when I heard, get to know your neighbors. Do you guys know your neighbors on both sides, across the street and back of you? Yeah. Excellent. That's what I'm singing to the choir here. Why is that important? Because you know what? You watch my back and I'll watch yours. You're not the neighbor on my right side looking over my fence. You're looking over my fence because what? You thought you might have heard something, seen something, etc. It's really that simple. And when we start to come together, what does it tell the bad guy?
Watch out.
I see this right here. We immediately report all suspicious activity to our local law enforcement. Bad guys know this, right? I heard that a lot of these burglaries are in the morning. Well, guess what? Not everybody on the street does that, right? Not everybody on the street goes to work. So what do you need to utilize? Who do you need to recruit into this process?
People that don't.
Absolutely, exactly right. Solicit these people, ask their advice, right? Ask if they can maintain an awareness. Tell them what kind of cars are in your driveway. Things of that nature. Am I going too far here? We've got to stop being so self-focused and branch out. And I applaud your efforts. Let's keep going. The third rule is survival. If you can't defeat it, then run away from it. End of story. Why would you flee?
Safety.
Safety, exactly right. You know what? Nobody in here said you were a fighter. And unless you're a fighter, unless you're trained to hurt people quickly and effectively, the bottom line, you will be ineffective. And I go to the guys, I don't care what you think you have. If you're not training to hurt people, you'll hesitate. Why? Because what do you do for a living, folks?
Other things.
Other things. You help people, don't you? And that's the goodness within you. All I'm saying is, if you go up against a seasoned threat, guess how long you're expected to survive?
5 seconds.
You right?
Yeah.
Actually, 4 seconds. After some research, we realized that you can lose several seconds of contact time to what? You ready for this? Just to process in your brain what? Oh my God, this is for real. Oh no, yeah, clock's ticking. All right, folks, let's do it. You got a 4-second combat life. Where are you gonna hit? You get 1 shot at living. Everything's failed you. You get 1 shot. Where are you gonna hit?
Eyes.
Temple. All right, let's do this. Temple, part of 22 individual bone components in the brain. It takes a lot of power to hit that. If you don't break it off, if you don't snap it, what will you do to your attacker? Enrage him. And man, the beating will be 10 times worse than it might have been originally. Where else?
No.
Nose. All right. We've heard the old strike the nose, crack the cartilage, force that back into the brain. Ain't gonna happen. Go home, do that for 1 year, 10,000 times on each side, come back and we'll talk. Do you have these skills, or do you perceive that you have them? I'm just gonna say.
I'm in self-defense class. That's what they taught us.
I'm gonna ask you this. Would you want to hinge your existence on a vague illusion of skill? That's all I'm saying. There are other things that we can do. Let's go back to the original question. Where are you gonna hit it? Eyes is exactly right. This is the only time I'm going to speak what we call active resistance. Well done, Miss in the back. You're scaring me now. All right, and I'm going to do this because you know what? Because we're not really going to go here based on the time frame. I want you to understand the dynamic of close quarter combat. When it closes that gap, right, and you have 4 seconds of effective combat life, what's the tool or the weapon that you use to attack the eye? Bingo. Well done. You know, I've seen keys used and all these things. Keys do nothing more than gather DNA. And I'll tell you why a key is not an effective weapon in the eye. How far does the finger go into the human eye? It doesn't. The eye is... Uh-oh. Now, I had some killers in here earlier. When I talk about taking eyes out, what happened to your face? You look like the lights came on. You guys went like this. Oh, God. So you're out there fighting for your life, and you're like, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. Yeah, come on. Do you understand where I'm going with this? But if you have no choice, I'll give this one to you, we'll move on. Bottom line, the eye is nothing more than a venue. The eye socket's what we're after. The fingers go in all the way until they stop. They drop down. Ladies, what do you carry around in your fingers that can be very effective to assist this? Fingernails. Once they drop down, you're getting control of the front of the cranial plate. When you rip your fingers out, what that does is it tears the muscle tissues of... Oh, look at you go. Okay. Yeah. We got some real warriors up in here, folks. Yeah. Once you rip that across, the eye rolls up in the socket. Now, ladies, you can prove this tonight with your significant other, the power of this tool, right? Now, have your significant other stand in front of you, have him put his hands on your throat. Be nice to him, talk soft. Say, hey baby, we're going to work out. I want to show you something I learned at my neighborhood watch meeting. Say, when I count to 3, I want you to begin a very soft depression of my throat, like you're simulating a chokehold, but don't hurt me, baby. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. When he begins that soft depression, for the love of God, do not gouge his eye. All right? All I want you to do is just want you to take your finger up there and hit him with it, just like that. Just flick it and watch the magic. All right, here we go. Where will those hands go? They'll go back to his eye. You watch the body do what's called an involuntary fetal crouch. He'll step back several feet, probably spewing a slurry of 4-letter superlatives. When he creates that distance, you now have the opportunity to do what?
Run!
As fast as you can. Don't stand there and go, who's the man? Who's the man? You know what? I didn't come here to talk active resistance, but here's what I hope you got. A, do you really have what it takes to hurt people effectively? Do you want to do that? Do you want to share the blood and breath of an individual in your face? So what we're going to build on for the next 40 minutes is to try to create a series of events that will prevent that from happening. So let's go back to your property. All right, do we have lights? I know, it's the same stuff we hear every meeting, but it's so valuable and it's so useful. Do we have those things lit up? One thing that I brought with me tonight are these very cool flashlights. What's cool about these? Just sitting there in the room light, you can still see it, huh? It's extremely bright. If this room was dark and I hit you in the eyelids, what would it do? Potentially blind you. Exactly right. Does a police officer hold the flashlight right in front of his face? He'll hold it where? Out to the side. Well done. Why will he do that?
So you shoot at it.
That's exactly right. A famous general wrote the words, before you enter onto a field of engagement, know your enemy and know him well. Understand every opportunity he has to injure or kill you and minimize those opportunities. And if you've successfully done that before you enter onto a field of engagement, you'll have won the battle before it even started. Who wrote that? Sun Tzu. Well done. What year? 512 BC. Folks, these are ancient wisdoms. This isn't rapid mathematical calculations or rocket science. It's not quantum theory, right? And that's what you're doing. I hear this gentleman sharing where these things are happening. But let's do this. Where does crime live?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. It thrives where it's allowed to thrive. And I hear things like use the park. You're absolutely right. You know what? It's funny. A lot of us can't afford things like alarm systems. I got this one here at Fox Spy outlet in town. I do a lot of work with them. We're going to talk about some of the items they have. Not pitching a business, but you know what? What could that do? It creates in a bad guy a what?
An awareness.
An awareness. An awareness that you might have a home alarm system. Could that in and of itself make him move on and pick somebody else. Inexpensive, not a worry in the world. Very simple, very functional. It's called perimeter security. What are some security plans that you might want to consider on things like children's bedroom access, stuff like that? Roses, well done. Thorny things, right now. People always come back to me, well, the house catches fire. What am I going to do? I'll tell you what. When you got 1,800 degrees of flame licking at your back, I'm not worried about the rose bush right under my window, because I'm going to do what when I get out of there? I'm going to launch. And you know what? Kids are malleable, right? When they're still young, you can dribble them and stuff. Toss them out. It's all good. Let's keep going, all right? Something else that I really pitch is this little shriek alarm. This little shriek alarm here. Now these things run like $20, $25. Ready for this? These are very, now, seniors especially. I really pitch these with seniors. If a senior citizen is approached by a robber, it's not the slap to the mouth that injures them. What injures them? The fall to the ground. So we're actually teaching seniors how to identify the threat coming to them, go to the ground on their own, assist in the robbery. Why would you assist?
Safety.
My God, do you have anything you want to die for? Are you kidding me? Forget about it. We can replace everything except for you. And if we lose you, we've lost one of us all. And that's unacceptable. So we teach how to cooperate on the ground. And you know what? If you can't get back up, because some of our seniors are very frail, what you have here, and I'll try to cover it up, is an external strobe function. So even in the dark, right, we can at least locate you, or you can get some help coming your way. It's really that simple. One other little component that's kind of cool about this, and I'll cover it up here while I transfer it, is we can't afford $100 home systems. What's cool is this. On your front of your back door, notice how the contacts are together. Once those you slide that contact inside the door, between the door and the sill. If the door is open and those contacts separate, what goes off? The shriek alarm. Now this thing will continue to go off until the pin is reinserted, the unit's physically destroyed, or the batteries run out about 2.5 hours. Is this pretty cool stuff or what?
Yeah.
It's non-combative. It's easy to obtain, right? And what does it do for, what does a bad guy want? He wants cooperation, he wants quiet, and an easy way out. If we can compromise those things, or give them the illusion of being caught, that's what I'm talking about. I'm sad to hear about a gentleman who had to resort to gunplay. I don't advocate gunplay in untrained individuals, because when you're shooting a shotgun, standard 9.32 caliber balls of ammunition, can you account for all 9 balls? How many houses will that go through? Or windows, or children's bedrooms? So all I'm going to say about guns is, they're awesome, we're allowed them to a point in the state of California, but you better know how to use it, because you know what, if you ever put your safety in front of the safety of another, that's unacceptable to me. You must never put an innocent life at risk to preserve yourself. It doesn't work like that. Let's keep going, all right? Some of the things we found, right? Does anybody ever report to the police officers that they've stole their starch or their shaving cream? Pretty cool. I have one at the house. It's I don't like mayonnaise, so I have a little mayonnaise jar in there. I would never steal mayonnaise. But you know what? Oftentimes with some valuables, things of that nature, you know, it's ironic. When I first came across these as a dope cop, it was kids concealing marijuana from mommy and daddy, right? Isn't it ironic that now the parents are buying them to put their goods in, and you put this up in your bathroom? So if a burglar does get in and he's searching through your house because you're at work all morning long, very rarely do they steal items like this. Something to consider. What are you using? Ruse, deception. This is how it works. Other tools we're going to talk about here in a minute, right? Does everybody have one of these? You know, I still see the doors with a little piece of wood, right, that runs down the track. Very effective. Is that wood stuck in there, or do you keep that little 1/4 inch space so it can slide back and forth so you can get your finger up in there? I see some shaking heads. If you've allowed that, and I've done it 100 times, breaking into homes legally, right, if you got that little bit of shimmy, a knife can still get in there and pull that door off the track. What you might want to consider doing on wood, right, is you take a little piece of like a ribbon or a piece of like a string, you put a thumbtack in there, that way the component sits down in the track solid, and what do you pull up with?
String.
That little piece of string or ribbon, right, making it more effective. I like these little door jammers. These are very cool. One thing that also is cool about them, they're very visual. You have what they call buddy bars that stick across the top. When a bad guy sees that, the only method of entry, shatter the window. That's unacceptable usually because it makes too much noise. So we start to think like them, right? You sit back and you kind of do an evaluation of your house. If I was a bad guy, how would I get in? You light the dark areas, right? You create these things, illusions, if nothing else, of protection. And you use the resources available to you. Let's keep going. Physical harm. I'm hearing physical robberies. Let's do this on a home invasion. What's the plan? What's the plan for home invasion? You hear they're happening? Illusions or not? Do they happen?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So they break in, they want stuff. What's the plan? What is your family going to do?
Let them have it.
Let them have it all. What do you do with your children? Do you rally them up?
Well, you try to keep them where they are.
You try to keep them where they are? Do they hide?
Yeah.
Do they have an evasion point? Do you have an emergency word that activates them to a higher course of action?
No.
All right, here we go. Some of the things that I talk about. When we talk about, and we're moving into prevention, from awareness to prevention. Prevention is the art of identifying a threat and putting into place things that I might want to do so that it doesn't get to me. That's what we're talking about, right? So, bottom line, there are nonverbal communicators. You see something unusual. You see a guy with a gun in his waistband. Do you want to start yelling, "He's got a gun"? No. So do you have ways of identifying with your neighbors, with your family, how to identify the fact that he's got a gun? Again, trying to create a smorgasbord of ideas and concepts. When I was a police officer, I'm working with my buddies. I had a big three. Number one was a gun. We're always worried about a gun. So I would hide these communications in simple, natural reactions. I'm scratching my shoulder, but do you see the little gun? A knife, I would itch across it, right? See the knife? 3 fingers across my throat, that was dope. Now do my partners need to know what kind of gun? What kind of knife? What kind of dope they're on? No. Do they just understand that this threat exists? And they would move tactically in a position so that we could, you ready for police terminology? Take the subject into custody using only the force necessary to effect the arrest. That's how you write on a piece of paper. What did I do without saying a word? I mobilized. Can you do the same thing? Because oftentimes it might not be acceptable to talk. You might give up your position, things of that nature. Let's talk about verbal communication. I wish I had my godchildren here, Reese, Wesley, little Angelina. I wish they sat right here. I'd show you some magic. I would say to them, Teki, T-E-K-I. It's a Japanese word. It means enemy. Now, we don't speak Japanese. Why would I use a Japanese word?
Because most people don't know that.
Most people don't know that. That's exactly right. And will never misuse that word in the course of normal conversation. Now, granted, they might look at each other for a split second. They're still young, and we're still working with them. But they'll bolt out of this room. They'll hunt down a specific safe stranger or a known family member or friend in a specific place. They will not stop until that journey has successfully been accomplished. And you tell me, in the face of my own violent death, what have I effectively done to my God kids?
Save them.
I can't say I've saved them, folks. I can't go that far. But I can say this with all my heart. I've given them a shot at living more so than you've given your own to date. I've activated a plan of action. They know exactly what to do. They run off in their minds, little crime fighters. For the love of God, they will not stand there like yours will today and wait their turn at being a crime victim. Do you have young male children out there? They watch mommy go down. What will that young male do? By God, he'll engage in a combat he cannot hope to win. Is this what we've done to our children? Is this blowing their Disneyland version of the world away? I don't think so. What have I taught them to do? Fight, kill, maim people? I taught them to do what? Go and get the cavalry and bring it back to me. And if I die knowing I did the best that I could to get him out of there. Where's Mary Ann? Is she out here? Yeah, we have rest. Do you have schools here? Yeah. Do you have children in this community?
Yeah.
You know what? Could some of this training pay off?
Yeah, absolutely.
You bet. I'm going to show you one of the most dangerous weapons known to man in the hands of a child pedophile. Oh, we're hunting for him. You all saw the little dog. Can you believe it? One of the most dangerous things you could ever have in your hands. Why? Oh my God. I used to have a little pug many years ago working with the Woodmore Oaks Neighborhood Watch. And I had 100 people out there. And I brought out my little pug puppy. He was so cute. And I let him go. And parents were pushing the kids away because they wanted to what?
Touch the dog.
Can you believe it? It still works. So what do we have to train our children to do?
Be cautious.
Be cautious, right? Never approach somebody, even though you might want to, right? However innocent it might be, without getting what kind of permission? Yours, or whoever they're with, right? Where's the dude? Here we go. Come here, buddy. Take a bow. Isn't it sad to think that this poor little guy could be... It's easy, buddy. You're right. These people are just scared now. They're scared. But do you see how easy it is? Isn't this sad? What does the animal prey on? It'll very rarely come to you gnarly, disheveled, bloodlust in its eyes. It'll come to you what? Sweet, soft. That's how it plays you. To bring you to, I call it dropping your shield. To get you to drop your shield to make yourself vulnerable. So let's keep going. Let's have some fun with it, all right? Somebody knocks on the door late at night. What do we want to do? Call the cops? Well, let's do this. Do we want to communicate with them?
Through the door.
Through the door. What do we say? Who is it?
What's the scenario?
2:30 in the morning, knock on the door. Don't say nothing? Okay, we just be quiet. Not bad. They start to break in. Course of action.
Hit my alarm.
911. Okay, good. Hit your alarm. Good, 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 good. How many of you folks have alarms? You folks without an alarm, what do you do?
We have a panic.
We're starting the panic alert. Okay. What's SO response time now? Used to be 5 to 7. What is it now?
I don't know, but it makes a bunch of noise.
Well, no, but if you call the SO, if you call the sheriff's department, how long is it going to take them to get there?
20 minutes.
What are we doing for 20 minutes?
15, 20 minutes.
Have you thought it out? Do you have a plan? Do you have a safe room? Can we attract the family into one room? Re-fortify it, right? Stick one of these up on the door. You know, if you feel like wanting to answer the door, is there a way to do that? Absolutely. You know what? I'll give you a question in just 1 second. Before you actually open the door, yell back into the house. All right, you guys, I'll get it. What have you done? You've created the illusion. You want to really stupid? Say, all right, you guys, that's it. I'm going to answer this door, but before I do that, if you're going to play with those shotguns, I want all that liquor back in the cabinet. What have you done? You're starting to do what now, folks? You're starting to control the situation and not be controlled by it. That's what I'm talking about. All right, anybody, a question here?
Yeah, we had in our neighborhood a situation where there was actually an emergency, a medical emergency, and the neighbor, after 11 o'clock at night, went to their neighbors and knocked on the door, and nobody would answer the door. The people refused to answer the door. It was a medical emergency. We do sometimes have to say, who is it and what do you need?
Absolutely,
But you
absolutely.
have telephone too, that you
Absolutely.
can call them.
No, they didn't know who they were. They didn't, I mean, they were new in our neighborhood. They were from a foreign country. They moved. They left the neighborhood because.
You know, I wish, folks, I wish to God that I could bring you the 100 ways to get hurt and the 100 ways to stay safe. It's just not that simple, is it? All we can do is what? The best that we can. The greater good for the greater number is what it's at. You know what? A lot of circumstances, they were new. They didn't know people, right? So maybe that compels us to do what when people move into this area? Introduce yourselves, right? Demonstrate what's going on here. Make them a part of it early. Bring them into this family that you've created. That's a start. Because you know what? You cannot save them all, miss. You just can't. I wish we could. I wish we could overnight get rid of this stuff. Yes, in the back.
Well, and of course, if someone says they need a phone or something, you just say, who can I call for you?
Yeah.
You can say that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very good. Well done.
That same scenario that you just said did happen to me. And it was really late at night and someone knocked on my door and it woke me up and I went to the door and I elected to turn on the lights and asked who
Very good.
it was. I didn't open my door.
Never.
And the guy said, I'm looking for Emily. And I said, Emily does not live here. And he goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I have the wrong house. I'm sorry I woke you up. And so I shut the light off and I was looking at the peephole and I noticed that he went to the corner and meanwhile I called the sheriff's department and gave him the description of blue jeans with a t-shirt with gloves on his hands. The next day I found out the house behind me got burglarized and it went through the roof and got in.
I live here on New Dawn Drive. I've had the same thing happen to me. I've had them break into my car at night. Not necessarily break in, right? Unfortunately, even I need to attend my own trainings. Left the car unlocked. They weren't looking to rob me. I could smell the alcohol. But they were just randomly probably looking for cigarettes, things of that nature, right? So bottom line, you're nailing it. You guys are really there. And I'm glad I'm singing to the choir here, right? We don't open the door. We can still operate. Who can I call for you? I love that. You bet. I'll call the police right now. Most of the time when people are in dire straits, they want police contact. If the guy says, no, 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 what is that telling you? Yeah. Just tell him, don't worry about it. I got the sheriff right here. He'll be right up. Yeah. I mean, don't be afraid to use these illusions, these ruses, these deceptions. Light it up. Noise it up. That's what they hate. That's not what they want.
Seems like you need help. I'll call the cops.
Very good. You know, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. I also wanted to spend the time, I've heard about personal robberies. One of the most frightening. All right? I need a volunteer. Can I borrow you?
Will it involve physical contact?
No, I'm not going to touch you. Okay, here we go. And your name is what, miss?
Joanne?
Joanne. Can everybody say hi, Joanne? We're going to be fine. All right, hey, Joanne, come here. All right, I want you to stand right here. Okay, are you in pain? All right, I want you to sit down. I don't want you to Oh, you're not in pain. Okay. Okay, very good. All right, we're just going to face the crowd.
Hi, Joanne.
Here we go. Joanne and I are giving a professional presentation. Do that, we want to face you, make you laugh, make you cry, and say our goodbye. In the face of conflict, completely unacceptable. What Joanne leaves vulnerable to her attacker? Eyes, throat, chest, abdomen, groin, knees that have impacted, snap, they do not bend. First thing we're going to do, we're going to modify her stance. Joanne, can you do just what I tell you, nothing more, okay? Don't do anything but what I tell you. Are you right-handed or left-handed? Right. All right, Joanne's strong hand is her right hand. What I want her to do now is I want her to retreat. I want her to take the strength of her body and retreat it to the rear. Why would I do that? Why would you take the strength of what you have and pull it back?
To force it forward.
If I was going to stab Joanne 3 times to the bone, which arm does she want to lose? Strong arm, weak arm? What is Joanne learning to do? Anticipate injury and minimize its effects at every opportunity. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Very good. All right, now, here's what I want you to do. You folks in the back that cannot see Joanne's feet, her feet are like this on the ground. Are you with me? All right, here's what I want her to do. I want her to take that strong leg straight back behind the left leg. Maintain shoulders width. She's going to turn her feet naturally on a 45-degree angle. Watch again. From here to here, a natural 45. From here to here, a natural 45. Can you do that for me? Stop. Hold your business. Don't move. Don't move. I touched you. All right. Now, this is what I asked for. How many times? 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 times. I demonstrated it. She saw the information. And you know what Joanne did? She did this. Now look again. I asked for this, and this is what Joanne did. Why can't a trained, educated adult professional follow clearly given instructions? Because she's a woman. No, look, I'm going to hate you. No, I'm coming to say, boy, do you feel that room temperature go down? You needed that, yeah. No, here's my point. I make a bad joke. Does Joanne walk around like this? Are you going to have a conversation with Joanne like this? It's not going to happen, right? Joanne has been taught all her life, as a female, to do what with her legs? Keep them together, keep them close. And you know what I told her to do in the face of her peers? I told her to maintain shoulders width. What I need here, I want this, Joanne. Here's what I want. I want this foot right here. I want you to bring it right back to here. Way over here. There we go. Now, I want you to turn your feet on a 45-degree angle. Nice! I want you to bend those knees slightly. Yeah! All right, now we're going to fix her. Here's what Joanne did, right? Instead of doing Dave the Wave, she was still Joanne. She was a professional. She was a woman. In the face of conflict, she's got to become the animal. A bear will not, a rabbit will not survive against a bear. It's got to become a bear. So what I've had Joanne do is, first of all, lower her target. When she steps back, she keeps distance in between her legs. Why? Stance, stability, and focus. So what she's done is she's taken this thing, this easy to injure part of her body. She steps back, she changes it. Now it becomes thinner and it becomes shorter. She's a smaller target now. Now, we're gonna, man, you're just ready, aren't you? She's in it, man, yeah. All right, now, inside hand, Joanne, your inside hand, palm open into the outside. And I'll bring that thing way up, right up, easy, easy, now killer, easy, easy, there we go, all right. Now, what I've got Joanne doing is pulling that inside hand about 6 to 8 inches off her body. Do not rest it against the body. The reason is, power impact will just simply transfer. By holding it outside, she has the ability to stop, right, and somewhat block it. Why open hand? These are techniques I teach 5-year-olds.
More coverage area?
Well, let's do this. It shows what? How does a cop stop a car? It shows empty hand and unwillingness. And you know what? Let me do this. How many of you are good at hitting with your knuckles?
Not very.
Not very. You know what you're going to do when you put that fist together and hit somebody? You're going to snap those fingers or break that wrist because you're not training for it. But you know what? You slap on doors. These are easy behaviors. 6 inches off the body. Nice. I'm going to give you right here. Slide it forward just a little bit. Here we go. Easy, killer. Easy. There we go. All right, now. Lead hand. Now, gentlemen, for you, your inside hand is low across the body. Much lower than a female's. Why is that?
We should all be standing up doing this. Is there room?
Thank you,
No?
Cindy. All right, here we go. All right, gentlemen, why is your hand lower?
You gotta protect your boy.
Thank you, yeah. Okay, we'll talk about that later. All right. The bottom line is if my hand's up high, I want you to hear this. Well, thank God. But if your hand's up high and it got kicked or punched, it would snap the fingers on which hand? Strong hand. So you roll that bad dog over. If you got attacked in this lower region, your body simply collapses against it. Now you have a great armbar defense against an assault. Also, if the hand became kicked or punched, it follows the natural rotation of the shoulder joint, and it comes right back. Now, inside hand. See, you were an animal, girl. Love it, right? Notice we don't fly with the elbow. If we fly with the elbow, what we leave vulnerable is this soft floating rib region. So we're going to tie that elbow in, open hand, right in front of the body. And the bottom line is just outside. So if somebody came in, it's a nice, easy block. Now, I'm going to bring it just a little bit off those knees. There we go. Good. Now, one thing we need to do with Joanne now, 2 more components. And this is probably going to be hard for Joanne. We need to have her learn to keep her mouth shut. Okay, now, my point is this. We want very subtle pressure on the top and bottom jaw. We don't want her grinding the teeth together, but we want her to close that jaw. The reason is, if this young lady became kicked in the face or punched, and that jaw's unlocked, it will simply what?
Break.
Snap or break. And Joanne's done. She's not pain training or endurance training. We're not all meant to be great warriors. So she anticipates the injury, minimizes its effects. And now the final component. Like our ex-governor says, we're going to use the air. We're going to breathe it. Stop screwing around. Now, what I want Diane to think, I'm sorry. Joanne, to think about is simply breathing into the nose, slowly. Drop the air down and push it out to the mouth. Think about it, into the nose. Out through the mouth. It's going to sound like a little growling dog, like this. Here we go. Now, Joanne, look at you, girl. Now, why do I want her to breathe a certain way? What this does, ironically, is it fills the lungs with air. Air in the body equals what? Energy, longevity, that's right. Oftentimes what we find victims doing is holding their breath. And how long do you do that? Not very long, right? Why does she drop it down? It tightens the diaphragm. It centers and more solidifies the bottom part of her body. And she exhales slowly. Why? To allow the air to be absorbed by the blood. That's energy. That's the power of life. Ready? One more time for me. Here we go. Outstanding. Can we give somebody a big hand? Well done. Now, Joanne, you and me, all our lives, we've been vertically challenged, haven't we? Yes. We're not going to reach real heights in our lifetime. But I want you to think about this. You saw Joanne, you've known her for how long? Months? Years? Can you imagine? The bad guy jumps out thinking she's an easy target. She steps back and goes, Why? Why would he think, dang, dang? Why will he maybe let her go away? Because he don't want to get injured. You're exactly right. Well done, miss. Well done. I need another one. You, miss. Your name?
Joan.
Joan, can I borrow you for a minute? Joan, bring your purse with you. I love this. All right. Joan, now don't hurt me. Oh, I'm telling you. All right. Now, ladies. Whoa, that is big. Yeah. What is in that purse?
My weapon.
Now, let's do this. Driver's license, phone numbers, emails, money, receipts, credit cards, family numbers, friends numbers, co-workers numbers, keys, cars, homes, storage facilities. Everything I need is right there. Am I correct? What are we learning now? Yeah. Can we downsize? Now, dudes have little things, right? But they got no money. Bad guy knows that, right? Men don't have any money. That's my best joke. Okay, I gotta move on. You know, the bottom line is, it's ironic what we teach guys to do when the guy comes out with a gun. The last thing they want to do is this. Why?
They think you got a gun.
They think you got a gun. We tell them, okay, okay, okay. Notice I'm pulling it out with 2 fingers. What do? I show it to him. Why?
So he doesn't shoot you.
So he doesn't shoot me. Is exactly right. All right. Now, here's what we're gonna do. Now, granted, this thing could probably stop at 223 round, right? M16 round of ammunition. Name one more time. I'm sorry.
Joan.
Joan, that's so sweet. I want you to stand right here, could you? All right, Joan, take your purse right there. How do you hold the purse naturally, Joan? Lovely. All right, let's look at it from the bad guy's point of view. We're going to flip around. Now, all right, hold it just the way you were, Joan. Do we see a target here? Yeah. Absolutely. What do? We anticipate watching, stalking. We run by. We grab the. Oh. Now, ain't no killers up in this room, were there? All right. She knew I was coming, but the point is, could I run by and grab this thing and be off with everything I need? Yeah. I've seen you put your purses around your shoulder. So you think the bad guy's going to stop? Now, Miss Joan, what I want you to do is take that thing over. There we go, sweetheart. Good. And run off? No, he's going to what? He's going to cut it, or he's going to just grab it and run with it. What happens to Joan?
On the ground.
On the ground. Now she's injured. So let's have some fun with it. You ready for this? Joan, can you see this weapon is not a real weapon? You okay? I would never point a real weapon. Okay, very good. All right, Joan's out walking around, having a good time. We know how she is. She circles the corner. I want to put you right there for me. Here we go. First thing, the bad guy jumps up, points the gun right at him, says, "Give me the purse!" All right, stop right there. Here we go. Does Joan want to hand me the purse? We want to cooperate. Oh, now, what you doing? Now, Joan, if you try to hit me with that thing, I'm going to shoot you. So just hand me the purse. Here we go. Nice. Now, she threw it at me. Is that acceptable? Now, did I grab her? Do you see where this is going? She threw the purse at me. Did it stop me? No. All right, let's re-rack it then. Does she want to try to hit me in the face with it? You hit me in the face with it, I might just what? Pull the trigger. We got to find a better way. All right, here's how it works. First thing I want Joan to do is exactly what this young lady did. Right, Joan, watch me. You right-handed? Watch my feet. You might do this. Go back. Nice. Turn your body. Nice. Now, the gun goes off. Where do you want to take the knife thrust, gentlemen? Throat or shoulder?
Shoulder.
Gut to the hip.
Hip.
Gentlemen, your fellows, your thigh. Say thigh. Okay, yeah, stay with me, guys. Stay with me. You know what Joan has done? She's turned her body. Turn just a little bit more. Nice. Now I got natural body armor. Even if this round goes off, there's a good chance it won't kill her. Is that kind of important in itself? Yeah. She's going to transfer very carefully that purse to the front weak hand. There we go. Now, and what she's going to do is this. She's going to toss that purse 45 degrees, that way or that way. Not over my head, right? And when she tosses it, she's going to give those things a little spin. Now, oftentimes you get those big baggy ones. Ladies, I'm going to tell you straight up. If it's got wheels on it, it's aircraft luggage, okay? Yeah. And sometimes you have the big bag, right? That doesn't have the zipper top. So what she would do is she'd throw that thing that way or that way and give it a flip. Why? Everything goes flying out. All right, so we're going to sit at this thing way over here. All right, now, where does bad guy's eyes go?
To the purse.
To the purse. That's what he wants. What does this young lady do? How fast do you always run? As fast as you can. Now, let's make Joan ensure the bad guy goes for that purse. Let's lie. Let's deceive. Let's trick him. What do you want to say?
Cops! Help!
Cops I might take a witness out. What about this? Damn it! There goes another $500. What's that bad guy doing? Oh, hell yeah. And he's over here digging through purse. Where is Joan?
Down the road.
And this young lady is 6 blocks away when he hears, "Bitch, there's no money in here." But she's what, folks?
Safe.
Very simple. Well done. Thank you very much. Folks, I'm going to kind of take it out here. Here's what I wanted you to leave with today. Hey, when you're providing home security, think like the bad guy. I highly encourage you. Things like this are extremely cheap compared to some of the stuff that you have. It creates an illusion. Right there, it can minimize you. Watch out for your neighbor. Learn to know the people around you. That's very powerful medicine, and you're doing that already. Don't be afraid to use ruse and deception, right? Can you get sick? Can you get sick in the face of a superior threat? Sure. Absolutely. You know, when you guys go back to work, you guys work tomorrow? Yeah, go up to one of your buddies at work, and once you go up there and go, and what are they going to do?
Back off.
They're going to back off. And my God, they've created what?
Space.
And maybe your ability to do what?
Right.
You see how easy it can be? It can be that simple. Then I went down J Street. The van drove up, yanked her in. 3 guys. They were going to gang rape her. Physically, she got sick, just upset for the moment. You know what those bad guys did? Took her back to the exact point they snatched her and kicked her out of the van. It saved her life. Why?
They have money.
What does a bad guy fear? Being caught, being injured, right? Things of that nature. 3 basic profiles we need to worry about. Power is number 1. Power wants to control you. That's what it's thrilled by. When you beg and you plead, and you cry for your life. That's what gives it life. That's what makes it work. That's the dope that it needs. It progresses. Ironically, with a power profile, we really don't see a lot of restraining. They just want you to what?
Fear.
Beg. Fear. Fear. They feed off it. They want you fearful. We progress to anger. Anger is much more volatile. Anger is when we begin to see weapons, restraints, things that hurts. This is a much more different animal.
You say weapons. I've had inmates in jail tell me, and I learned on the streets, don't carry a weapon that we can take away from you.
Bingo! You know, we're going to talk about that here in just about 2 minutes. That's exactly right. The weapon's only as good as you are with it. You guys good at knife fighting? I got knives up here. Are you good with this? Can you imagine, ladies, what he's going to do with this when he gets it from you? So a lot of these weapons, these self-defense tools out there, still require a level of training. And I won't tell you where the bad guy told me he'd put it, females. Of all the weapons I took off my body.
You don't have mace.
Oh, yes, I do. Do you guys have mace? You carry mace? Excellent. How did it feel? How did it feel?
My husband has burn scars all over his arms.
But you guys carry it? Do you carry mace? How did it feel? Did it burn?
In a class, yeah.
You did it in class?
I've had a class and I have a permit and it does burn.
Don't need a permit.
I mean, it burns.
Don't need training no more. But I'm saying, if you carry it, what did it feel like when you put it on you?
Burns the heck
Oh, wait a
out of
minute.
you.
Some of you have it, but you didn't put it on you. So you're out there in a field of conflict. Maximum effective range of those tear gas, OC or CS canisters, maybe 10 feet maximum. Otherwise, it's going to start to mist and fall apart. You're going to get it on you. Where do I want to know what it's going to do to me? Now, in a practice scenario? Or do I want to blind myself because I'm not paying attention to things like wind condition? Or he closes the gap and it splashes back on me and I have an anaphylactic reaction to it. Or I get sick or I can't see. You got to know how to use that stuff. Are you dispensing it with your strong hand or your weak hand? Right? I always encourage weak hand dispension, right? Why? Because what hand is good at opening doors, closing windows, using car keys? The strong hand. So you train that dummy hand to hold the bad guy off while you're doing other things, right? I have some of these, right? Again, OC, oleoresin resin capsicum. Boy's not going to fall to the ground in seizures. You know one thing this does real well? Shuts his eyes. I did this on television for several years. Every time we experiment with it. Last time, the young lady I was stalking to a parking lot was so cool. I jumped out. She point blanked me right there. I put my hand up. She hit me twice right there. The after spray basically closed my eyes, and because she hit me here, this was the sheer genius of it, I inhaled it. That's the joy of oleoresin resin capsicum. It's good when it's wet and warm. Where's the wet and warm part of your body easily accessible? Right into the philtrum. Don't worry about the eyes. You're going to overshoot because you're aiming high. Hit them right in the middle of the face. The after spray will close their eyes. And I swear to God, I kind of stumbled around for what I thought was a few minutes. It was about 25 minutes. When I finally opened my eyes, I was 35 feet from where I thought I was. So what does it tell you? It makes them lose what? Orientation, equilibrium, balance. But folks, you got to know what it does to you. My recommendation, take some packing tape, pack up under your eyes. Downwind, shoot a Q-tip, right? Swab that tape. That way you don't get the superficial burn that it will burn, but also you get the essence of what it's like to enjoy oleoresin capsicum in a combat situation. Trust me, it's an ugly thing. One of these, this new one that they gave me here, this one's kind of cool. It's got a strobe light. When you kick it, it sends out an alarm, and it also has a strobe light. Why is a strobe light kind of a cool thing to point at a bad guy? It blinds him. Exactly right. It's really hard for him to see. But you nailed it. The weapon's only as good as you are. So you got to practice with this stuff. You can't just... And where is it right now, by the way?
In my fanny pack.
In your fanny. So what you're going to say is, all right, you son of a bitch, you wait right there. Give me a minute, yeah. Because think about it. How quickly can you retrieve that stuff? Is it somewhere where it's readily accessible? You're walking through a parking lot. It's dark at night. You had to do this. What do? You get it out. Now don't walk around the parking lot like this. Yeah, you'll get a visit from your pop officer, right? But can you palm it? Can you palm it? Yeah. Keep it a secret, right? Keep your eyes open. Get that defense up before. You know, I love the stream sprays, these little bitty ones you see, like this one here. This is a really small one. It's called a stream spray. It comes out in a stream. The reason I don't like those is when you shoot it, you really only have about functionally 7 2-minute blasts. So when you hit them, you're kind of driving it up to find their eyes. What I like? The big ones. Oh yeah! That's called an expanding cone spray. That doesn't shoot out a little stream, it shoots out a cloud. And the minute the boy walks into that cloud, what happens to him? He's compromised. So you just shoot, boom, shoot, boom, shoot, boom. Those larger ones, potentially 14 2-second blasts. Shoot, we could dust ourselves halfway to Stockton with that dog, but it's got to be readily available, right? Also, are you training with it? Have you done a put a target up, turn, and blast that puppy? Remember, effective range, no more than 10 feet. Highly effective range, 8 feet maximum. That's where you can get maximum dispersion. Knives, I've heard people want to carry knives. What's that one got at the end of it? This is prized for the bad guy. It's a gutting blade. When it goes in, guess what it pulls out? But let me give this to you. Of all the weapons I took off my body, how many you count? Undercover, I worked next to an enforcer. This guy was in DEA. He was a very bad man. He hurt people for a living. He would go around to all the little dirtbag drug dealers collecting taxes and back-owed monies. Very effective at hurting people and interrogating them, not law enforcement. I asked him one time, of all the weapons on the planet, if you could have just one, which would you choose? It sits on the table, right in front of you. Which do you think it is?
Pencil.
Pencil's exactly right. Well done, my brothers. I'm saying to the choir, you do have warriors here. And he said with a smile I'll never forget, and I teach it in all my classes, get close enough to your target. Just get close enough to touch him. And you run that bad dog right in their eye, and then you snap it off. Well, they try to pull the lead and wood from the inside of their skull. They'll toss away something that will very rarely hold enough sebaceous oil to form a fingerprint, folks. Who thinks like that? So what is a weapon, per California definition? Anything based on the intent of the user. Where did the weapons come from when I presented them? Waistband area, inside pockets. So when you're dealing or walking around people, get a feel for that. Watch these actions. It's ironic, when I first got here, I did a walk around. Guess what we found? Right outside here. It looks like a homeless individual. Bicycle there, sitting up against the building, no shoes on. You know what's sad about homeless people? They are no more likely to injure you than anybody else. However, they are 10 times more likely to be victims of violent crime based on the environments they live in. So don't identify homeless people as your threat. A 5-year-old, I want to give you one more to take home to your babies, because I love to teach children. Why? You know what's cool? Children don't bring something to a class that a lot of adults do. They don't bring what?
Fear.
Ego.
Ego.
Yep. You know what? When you can say, I don't know, then you can learn. When you say, I don't have, then you can begin to create. And it's ironic working with adults, because oftentimes we have these preconceived issues, or I can vanquish any enemy brought before me. It doesn't work like that. But children, I'll give this one to you. Your baby's being approached by a stranger or somebody that knows exhibiting strange behavior. Do you know how many strangers actually abduct your children out there? Maybe 3 out of 10. That means 7 out of 10 of your babies are molested or victimized by who?
People you know.
Family and people that you know. So you've got to train them in strange behaviors, tickle games, secrets, magic car rides. The baby's approached by somebody that doesn't know, or somebody that feels uncomfortable with. So what I tell them is this, and I'll train you like I do a 5-year-old. When you run a race, do you put both of your feet on the starting tape?
No.
No. One foot's on the starting tape, strong leg goes where?
Back.
In the back. We call it runner's block. Now watch this. I've taken the baby out of this position, I put him into this position. Anybody have a cat? You ever have a cat that does that little thing like this? I used to have a beautiful cat named Oshi, and she would always do this. They say it was a mother thing. But you know what? You teach them not to what? To do what? Right, not to cement themselves to the ground. Be ready to go. You put their little hands up, right? But the hands don't extend out. We call it breaking the elbow. They bring the hands in. Why are the hands open?
Less likely to get injured.
Less likely to get, well, let's do this. You're across the street. You can't hear what I'm saying. Right? You can't hear what the bad guy's saying to the baby. But if you see a child step back like this, put their hands up, right? What does it tell you?
There's fear.
We're starting to see things happen, right? And we tell the kid to yell at the adult, stop! As loud as it can. Now, what will a good person do? Not just stop, by God, they'll what?
Take off.
Oh my goodness, yeah, whoa, whoa. What we teach that child is that bad guy or potential bad person takes half a step more toward them. Does a 5-year-old have enough information to determine that this person is potentially unsafe?
No.
Yes, they do. Why? Because does a 5-year-old have the right to tell an adult to stop dead in their tracks? Absolutely. Now, could the child have made a mistake?
Yep.
Sure. They make mistakes all the time. You know what's cool about mistakes? They show you A, where training is required. It also shows you where the system's working. You see somebody across the street, you don't recognize them. They're going into a window. You call the cops, they come out. It's the brother of the homeowner who lost his key. Are you a complete idiot?
No.
No. What did you do?
Raised a possible alarm.
You saw something, you reported it, and rallied the resources available to come in and handle it. You call me, I'll take you to lunch on company money. Because you're a hero. That's what heroes are. Heroes do what they can whenever they can. Folks, you don't have to be a great warrior. You don't have to be a great fighter. But do what you can and nothing more. Identify your weaknesses and overcome them with strengths. Don't be afraid to use all the ruses and tricks the bad guy uses. That's how they succeed. And I'd rather, again, I want to end with this. I'd rather have you call the cops a million times and be wrong than to withhold it that one time, and that was the time that they really needed help. I want to thank you. I know that we've got a quick hour here. It's an honor and a privilege. I hope it didn't freak you guys out. Relax. It's going to get better. You're on the right track. I'll make myself available to this neighborhood watch at any opportunity, and it's an honor and a privilege to be in front of you folks.
Thank you very much.